Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're working with a really interesting sort. It's a graphic,
Right.
basically, laying out the top 10 global news stories from the last 12 hours or so,
Right.
as of July 7th, 2025.
Right.
And our mission, as always, is to give you that shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. We're going to pull out the key insights from this snapshot of global events.
Exactly. We'll try and synthesize these different reports, help you understand not just what's happening, but maybe why it matters and, how these different pieces kind of fit together.
Okay, let's dig in then. A huge theme jumping out right away is global trade. It seems U.S. officials are hinting at some possible delays in trade policy,
Mm-hmm.
but also talking about extra tariffs. I mean, up to 70% duties on nations aligned with BRICS. That sounds, well, enormous.
It is. And what's really fascinating here, I think, is the sort of mixed message coming from President Trump.
How so?
Well, on one hand, he's saying deals with the EU, India, Vietnam are close. He's even delaying some new tariffs until August 1st. But then, almost in the same breath, he announces this additional 10% tariff, specifically hitting countries aligning with BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa.
It's not just economics, it's geopolitical maneuvering.
Absolutely. It seems like a clear strategy to maybe reshape alliances, challenge those emerging economic blocs. And it has immediate effects, far beyond just the trade deals themselves.
And we saw that, didn't we? The South African rand, it dropped 1% almost right away. And their government bond yields went up, too, just on Trump's warning about BRICS.
Yeah, a direct hit. And you also mentioned Asian and European markets edged lower.
Right. And oil prices dipped, too, after OPEC Plus signaled they might increase supply in August. So lots of moving parts economically.
Definitely. And if you connect that back to the bigger picture, it really highlights this trend of nations reevaluating who they rely on.
Ah, like the example from Japan.
Exactly. An opposition leader there urging Japan to diversify its trade, move beyond just relying on the U.S., basically citing the risk of, well, unstable tariff policies like these. It's about building resilience.
Makes sense. Okay, so beyond the direct trade stuff, what else is bubbling up? We see
Mhm.
other global shifts, right, like on the climate front.
Yeah, the EU officials, they're apparently delaying a joint climate commitment with China before a summit.
Why? What's the sticking point?
They want more ambitious emissions cuts from Beijing. It's that classic tension, isn't it? Global pressure on China to speed up its climate action versus its own economic priorities. It's a major negotiation point.
Right. And sticking with sort of national issues spilling over, migration seems to be another friction point. Poland reinstating border checks.
Yes, at its borders with Germany and Lithuania, they're setting a surge in undocumented migrants.
And that's significant because,
Well, it raises serious concerns about the unity of the Schengen area, Europe's passport-free zone. It shows how domestic issues like migration can really strain those big regional agreements, borders tightening up again.
okay, and this next one sounds really impactful on the supply chain side. China's export controls on rare earth magnets from back in April.
Hmm.
They're still causing trouble.
Oh, absolutely. It's continuing to disrupt the global auto and tech industries pretty significantly.
How bad?
We're seeing steep drops in exports of these magnets and real supply shortages for crucial components. It's basically a choke point.
So this isn't just a temporary blip then.
Doesn't look like it. It's forcing companies everywhere to rethink their supply chains, their reliance on single sources like China for critical materials. This could hit the cost and availability of, well, everything from EVs to smartphones, highlights how fragile things can be.
Wow. Okay. And then we also have some purely domestic political shakeups making headlines. In Russia, Putin suddenly sacked his transport minister.
Yes, Roman Starvoit. And apparently gave no reason, which, immediately fuels speculation about what's going on inside the Kremlin.
And at the same time, halfway across the world in Kenya.
Right. Authorities there blocked roads in Nairobi. This was ahead of a planned pro-democracy demonstration.
And the timing there is important, isn't it?
Very. It's the anniversary of the Saba People's March, which is a really key date in Kenya's history, symbolizing the fight for multi-party democracy. So these domestic events, they're important windows into the stability and direction of these countries.
Okay. And finally, amidst all this political and economic tension, there was a quieter, more symbolic moment. The Dalai Lama turned 90.
Yes, celebrated by world leaders, followers. It's a big milestone.
And the significance beyond the birthday itself.
Well, it subtly puts the spotlight back on Tibet, doesn't it? It acts as this global reminder of that ongoing situation and keeps China's human rights record in the conversation, even when other crises dominate the news. It's a form of soft power, really.
So tying this all together for you, our listener, we've covered a lot in a short time. A real whirlwind of interconnected events. Trade wars brewing, climate talks stalling, supply chains getting squeezed, political shifts.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? How do all these seemingly separate things, economic policy here, a political decision there, even a symbolic birthday, how do they all weave together to create this incredibly complex global picture we're all trying to navigate?
A good question to keep in mind.
Definitely. We'd encourage you to keep looking for those deeper connections in the news you read and hear, because understanding how things link up, well, that's really what being informed is all about.